here and around the world, like you said, this is Kwaku Annan here. Sometimes sounds quite controversial. Sometimes do people disagree? People agree to you, depend on which political philosophy, economic philosophy, or social philosophy on which you are trending. I designed the show this way, that this is a show primarily was going to focus on social current affairs issues, political
Mm,
issues,
mm,
economic issues, investigations, because then my background must also be feed into the program,
mm,
contextualizing it from investigative journalism. That was the base. And
mm.
then also what I call, I think the fourth one was crossfire.
Let's stick with the seed for now, because
Great.
that's what you became known for, the seed.
Sure.
Okay, and especially even if he was appearing even 5 minutes each time, he became quite tied to you. It was like a tag team. I'm
Yeah.
saying to suggest that when the announcement came that he's taking the show off air and
Yeah.
then you have been more or less fired, it was a shock. When did you receive that news? Did you see it coming?
Well, Kweku, I would say no. And the reason is also because this is a show all the time. Everything about the show is on my lap. The content, the programming, and the takeoff, everything is on my lap. Because I was given that task to push the show to whichever level. One, to
Mm.
ensure that we have the listenership, the viewership, and the markets as far as the business aspect is concerned. And Kweku, I succeeded in all the three, above things. I think sometime in July, it was on Wednesday, preparing to go to the studio. I was in my bedroom. Then I have showered about to take off. Then I had a call from my CEO, who apparently is the wife of Kennedy Japan, Stella. And she called and said, we have to have a meeting about the program. And apparently she want the program to go on a season break. So I said, what is it about this season break? And then she said, yes, we need to go for season break. And that's in broadcasting. It's something
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
have to
Program to
exercise that.
yeah.
And I said, oh, madam, gauging the circumstances of the situation, we are left with about 4 to 5 months to go for Christmas. So why don't we wait for this period? She said, no, we have to. So I asked her, then what time, which day you want the program to push for this season break? Then she said, anytime you are free and you can come to the office, then we discuss this. Kweku, this was on Wednesday underlined. So about preparing to take off, then one of the producers called and said, Kweku, we are not having a show today. And that Madam has asked us that we slot in a movie. And I said, a movie for what? And I said, but I just spoke to her. And then she said, okay, then call Madam again.
Okay.
So indeed, I called her.
She had discussed with you that she wants the program to go on a break, take a season.
Exactly.
But you knew that
Exactly.
you'd be continuing with the program.
Sure.
So you
Sure.
the program when the producer called and said,
Precisely.
we are not
Exactly.
it today.
Exactly. So I called her back, and then she said, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you back. And that ended the call. So I realized that then the calls were coming from other guys, technical guys, those in MCR and all of that. That something is happening, we don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, let's wait for. So I called my director of TV, who is, that's Ken San Nanatichi. And I said, Kenneth, what is going on? Then he said, me, I don't know, instructions coming from above. So discuss with her. I've opened the studio. If you want to have a program or the show will go on, everything depends on Madam. And I said, oh, really? So on that Wednesday, KSM, we canceled the show. Then the next day, I went to the office. So when I went to the office, then she said, I should say that myself, CEO, and then director of TV, we had this meeting. In the meeting, she said, look, one, we have to pull this program down and do some realignments and rearrangements and all of that. And that's okay. Well, I don't know what would feed into all of the above that she's saying, but then I have to listen to it. Then second, she said, you can't fight the government.
You can't
fight the government. I can't fight the government. Then again, she went on to say that I've insulted the vice president, and that there's a YouTube video recording shows that I've gone to do a program on my private YouTube channel, and
to
I've
insult the
insulted the
vice
vice
president?
president. Yes, and I said, no, madam, I haven't done that. Well, saying this, I thought then in a minute she was going to show me the video as evidence-based. I did not see the video. She did not also say anything except to, telling me stories about the video, blah, blah. And I said, no, I haven't gone on YouTube to do anything. Well, she was so fixated on the basis of the fact that, yes, the program should be pulled down. So I accepted that challenge. In all of this, I was studying what is more to loom that will make more understanding than just to say the program must go on.
Yeah, let me ask you this very quickly. Did you do a program on YouTube about the vice president?
Absolutely not.
So what program are you referring to?
Great. Now, you know what? Which I know by this time, KSM, you might have heard of all of the sizes to the coin. It's about the fact that that purported video upon which I stand accused to have insulted the vice president. Apparently, I did that show on that same network, unknown to them or on the ignorant side of them all, including even my director of TV, who is supposed to have monitored all my programs and could see that this is a program that Kwaku did. And apparently it's talking about the vice president in a negative terms or some sort. No, it caught all of them at the blind side until I have to come and give my response that, hey, the video on which I stand accused, and Kennedy Agyapong is also out there telling the world that I did it on YouTube, was actually on his own network. And again,
that program was on NET2 TV.
Exactly. Because in my response to what Kennedy Agyapong has said out there, if you watch my response on my TV station, Kwaku Annan's TV, you will see I showed the video, the real video, because nobody apparently either have access to the video or something, because all the information going around on the superhighway, nobody could show the video, including NET2 officials. So I have to demonstrate that video to the world that this is the video we are talking about. And Kwaku, quickly, now go into the content of that video, which is purported to have been described as an insult to Bawumia. It's not. It's a program. My program, The Seeds, I also designed a segment on the program called Ghana Speaks. And Ghana Speaks is the hottest. This is a segment where I do to invite the viewers more, prepare them for the main program itself, takeoff. So on Ghana Speaks, now to give you the content of that show, which Mr. Kennedy Agyapong could not listen well and understand what that content was all about. It's about what you and I know, that the MPP has gone for IMF. Now, my reference was about the fact that, yes, the the NDC administration, John Mahama, former president, His Excellency, took us to IMF. Now, at the time the NDC, went for the IMF program, the current vice president was in opposition. Then I remember he said something to John Mahama, 3, 4, 5 bullet points, telling the world how Mahama has failed. So, the superhighway is a storage of information. Yeah. So I went for that video. Then I played that video. I also played a video of the current finance minister, who also then had said about a month or two to us that Ghana, we are not going on IMF and all the doom mongers and blah, blah, blah. So I took these two videos and I played both respectively. Then I questioned the current vice president, Mr. Vice President. Can you explain to us these things that you said to former President Mahama? 2, would these things that you said to former President Mahama be applicable to you today? When I made this comment, then my viewers on YouTube got alarmed. And I can presumably, may I say, these are fans of the vice president, started attacking me on YouTube. That why am I taking on the vice president, blah, 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 blah. So whatever response I gave in that video was not actually for the vice president, for my viewers on YouTube. So it was there I said, quote, when I was attacking Mahama about his economic mess and all of that, you people didn't hear, you didn't see. What kind of rubbish is that? We have to tell the truth to Ghanaians and defend everything that we have said in the past and present. And I left it there. So whether I use the word rubbish or whatever it is, Kwaku, the truth of the matter, and anybody who has watched that video or viewed the video, no clear primarily was not in reference to the vice president, and it can never be an insult to the vice president. It was those at the YouTube that I was talking to.
Okay, what you're saying is that you just played back what he has said, and played back what the finance minister has said, and you were questioning them why there was that drastic change. Was okay.
Precisely. That's it.
But this was done on NET2.
It was done on NET2, not on YouTube. It was on NET2 TV in July.
Okay. What's this whole issue about you went to YouTube to do it? Was it because you played it back on YouTube? What happened?
No. You know what happened? Anytime I do my program, some of these bloggers sometimes will pick the show. Then they put it in their own, content, and then they shoot it. A lot of bloggers pick my program, where many times the officials of NET2 have written to the YouTube officials, and then they strike them off. But this one, I don't know what happened. It was still, on the superhighway. And then somehow the circumstances under which it went to Agyapong is a story that maybe we'll get into it.
Okay. Let me ask you this quickly. Your CEO said that you can't fight government based on the YouTube thing and everything. And if I may add, I think it's no secret that NET2 is afraid of the government. NET2 is seen as a platform where the government is very comfortable, propagating government, whatever it is, right? So when she told you can't fight government, being NET2, knowing the philosophy of NET2, and you coming as a host on the program from NET2, how did you feel? Did you feel you have now turned against government?
Well, Kwaku, this is the crossroad, in the sense that when she said this, then it was for me to digest, then again to interrogate myself that what it is about. You can't fight a government or some sort. I don't know, because she could not reveal much more that on the basis of it, I can say, my direction is not about fighting government. But it was about later on, some other intelligence I picked prior to that meeting that she didn't know, that I have picked some very reliable intelligence. And so based on that, then I knew where she was going. But then she was also not ready to open up. But I knew where she was going, that there is much more than what she was telling me, why she was saying I can't fight government. And I could presume that it was not on the basis of whether I've insulted vice president or not. There were more to it. Yes, like you said, the NET2 TV, the seat flavors government policies, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But as you know, the media cannot, will not, and may not be ignored as a significant political actors. We have a certain sense of responsibility to deliver. My responsibility as a journalist sitting there, one, I don't have any political party tag. What do you call it? What's the word? Party card, no. But sometimes the viewer, or say those in the extreme NPP kind of, would feel that no, so long as Kwaku is sitting on this network, it's expected of him that he push that agenda. Fair deal. But then wouldn't also be more reasonable professionally as a journalist coming from that conduit, that I need to also execute my job on the professional standpoint, with or without looking at it from both sides. And that if the party does something that is also not politically incorrect, Kwaku should be able to question. I should be able to interrogate it. I should be able to talk about it. Okay. Because one, if John Mahama, former President Mahama, pushed us to IMF, for how many years down the line? We've been going to IMF. When are we going to have that break? And then you come on the basis of me to question even the current vice president. were on three bases. One, the vice president, Kwaku, is the chairman of the economic management team of this government, the governing party. Two, he's an economist too. Three, he's the vice president. And I can even say that Charlie Mahama Krano and Mahama is a political technocrat. He's our vice president. He's a groomed economist. So if you are the chairman of the economic management team, you know the in and out, the endocrine, the leaps and bounds of everything as far as the economy is concerned. You know how to play the game. Now, if you sit there and they do all the things that they've done up to the very moment, including that of the current finance minister, in that white calico with the Bible and giving scriptures backing that God is with us and we aren't going to IMF. And then by the close of his speech, we are at the doorstep of the IMF. Now we see ourselves sitting, eating a giant humble pie. No, I cannot use any other adjective except to say they have failed. And that, for me, was a crystal clear that any Ghanaian, be that a journalist or otherwise, you would have to tell them, guys, you have failed. Either you walk out of the door peacefully, give a chance for somebody to,
great.
exercise proper prudence.
NET2 TV has an affiliation. Some TV stations have political affiliations, and it's no secret that NET2 TV has the affiliation, is almost like a platform for the MPP. So, Kwaku, considering that, would you now understand why maybe your CEO said you are now taking on government? Because this is this was taking on the vice president and the finance minister. And I understand that you're talking about journalists should be objective. Did you think that the station that you were at allowed that objectivity and that you could stay there and get away with it?
Yes. The word objectivity underlined, but the question still remains that what will be the understanding about objectivity, or they will simply just allow anything to be done on that channel, or still would say, no, we want to be objective, but we have to also criticize by also criticizing the establishment for them to do things right. Because in our political setting, if you don't criticize the African politician, and for that matter, the Ghanaian politician, here they go haywire and do all sorts of things as if they don't know their left from their right. So for me, objectivity was what they should have aspired for. But then they felt that it must go on the MPP, NDC extremism, which I think I've tested myself so well. And I cannot go too much into whether it is about MPP and I'll go in that extremism or NDC. No.
Okay.
To balance the
understand. Let me ask you this right now. Some of the criticisms that have come since this decision has come about, I know, how would I call it, maybe very, very, very pro-NDC people who are now saying, and I want you to react to this statement, I feel wrong. It's like you knew all along that the direction wasn't right, but they said then, Kennedy must have been paying you so much money that you didn't care. So it's only after you left that people are now talking about, oh, he said he wasn't even being paid or paid that well or all of that. My question is this, and I want you to react to what the criticism is said. So did you know all that things are not as well as the party had promised, but you just decided to toe the line because Kennedy was insisting that you toe the line, or you as an individual, you were not very comfortable with the direction?
Kwaku, the answer for this is the bottom of your statement or the question. Yes, I felt that I'm not comfortable with the direction. So if I was comfortable, then Kwaku still or wouldn't even question the vice president. Because mind you, there are radio stations and television stations in Ghana they tell towards the NPP, knew of what Kwaku Annan was questioning and could also go in the same direction, but failed to do so and said, oh, Charlie, let's close our eyes, allow things to go the way it has to go. So if Kwaku was in the political household of NPP affiliated television station and was questioning this, then fundamentally it must be known that I wasn't comfortable about something. And my inability to also not to have questioned would have also be a question on my head, which of course my consciousness wouldn't have set me free. Kwaku, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And even the outside will question you. So by me questioning, I think somebody should give us a bit of credit that we still want to question the establishment to do what is right. Now, Kwaku, quickly on the question you asked. It's not because I know of all of this and still I was glossing my eyes over anything and it's like I'm talking about. Kwaku, you know what? I've come under avalanche of attacks, criticisms. Somebody will not understand this direction, why I'm giving some responses out there. I have been accused ostensibly to have been one person who came to NET2 TV or television and has milked the finances of Kennedy Agyapong. I'm being paid so huge. I chop his money and look, there's one prominent lawyer in this country who called me personally and attacked me for this. And I think if you give me permission, I can mention his name. Who attacked me that why am I doing what I'm doing? And that all about Kennedy Agyapong insulting people in this country, blah, blah, blah. I am the brain behind all of that. Do you know why when he said this? It was when Kennedy Agyapong had come on my show. And apparently there was this judge who gave a ruling, and the ruling was not in his favor about his parcel of land. And Ken was on my show and gave it so, there was a huge attack on the personality of this judge. Even at the very time when he was, unleashing the dragon on this judge, I tried to tame him and I had my share on that program. The evidence is there. Even that I did professionally from that standpoint. I was accused to have, instigated that drive by Kennedy Agyapong. This lawyer, Kwame Jan, who is well known, Kwame Jan, and I know he's going to watch this program. Kwame called me 2 occasions, said all abusive words. And then he told me that Kwaku is all over at the workplace. And so many things. And it's not only the lawyer Kwame Jan. This rumor was ongoing.
Well, that was the prevailing belief, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, Kwaku, exactly. But then, so I thought it wise and no. Now that I'm no more there, and all this rumor is hanging on my neck, I need to demystify this call sign. So I have to tell the world. They should go and ask him, how much was I being paid? My services to NET2 TV. They should be able to disclose it. 2, the clothes that I wore for every show, 2 to 3 years was coming from my own pocket. I didn't have a wardrobe. No, I didn't have a wardrobe. I'm sorry, it sounds quite embarrassing though, but the way people see Kennedy Agyapong would always want to tell the truth. I'm sure maybe I have that more spirited, much more than maybe he has. So then I have to demonstrate to the world that I served him in truth and integrity. And so this is not the time I deserve this thankless moment. No, because Kwaku, you are in the production, you are in the industry. We know how we serve our presenters when they have to appear on the screens, more desirable and appear in a very, for the viewer to, as it were, appreciate this. But in my case, I was taking care of everything. So I want to tell them that this rumors that you build against me, this is the day I have to tell you the truth, that they are all lies. The rumor out there that Kwaku Annan is the one chopping Kennedy Agyapong's money and all of that, I think that then I've had it too much into my neck. And I need to explain that to listeners and the viewers and the Ghanaian to understand that, hey, apart from my salary at the end of the month I take home, I didn't have any extra money from anywhere, even to the extent that advertisement that I brought on my show that I need to take my commission. My commissions were never given to me. No, everything was being taken care of. And Kwaku, the program, the Seed Show, did not also have any extra money. I say extra money, did not have any money that was put into the show. No, the show from where 2-3 years was financed by myself and a nephew of Kennedy Agyapong. We financed it from our own pocket. That's the truth. So sometimes you are forced to say all these things for people to know that, Massa, we went through a bit of hassle, but the fact that we were not talking or some sort, you know, shows that everything was there rosy. No.
Yeah. People just assume that, you know, for you to take such an entrenched position, you know, I mean, you were so close to the extent that I think you were the one that broke the news that he was going to be running for president. So you know that you can understand why people assume that there's a special relationship, that even when he used to run for president, you broke the story.
That's correct.
So do you understand where people are coming from when they think that?
Exactly. And you know, I won't fault Kennedy Agyapong that he wants to contest for presidency. No. Why? It is constitutional legitimate right. Now,
he told you that he wants you to break the news?
Yes. He told me he was about to visit the US for some checkup. So he called me and said, I should, you know, break the news. I think it was a couple of days, then the next 2 days will be Monday. So I went on my program on Ghana Speaks. I broke the news that, hey, folks, Kennedy Kwame Agyapong is going to contest. If the nominations are open on the NPP ticket, he is going to pick his nomination forms and he'll proceed to contest the 2024 presidential race. And I broke this news. When I broke that news, Kwaku, I had my share of some attacks, even from within the same Ken City, because some people in Ken City were not, you know, too comfortable with that news because, well, it looks as though they had also patched their camp in certain political corridors. And so they didn't want their own chairman to contest or some sort. He heard of this and he was upset. He took it upon them, did blah, 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 and further asked me to come and reinforce the message, which we did. Subsequently, he came on one of the programs, even though he was in the US. He came on the show and then affirmed that message. Now, I cannot be faulted for breaking the news that he will contest the elections or otherwise. Now, why? Everybody has that constitutional, you know, so long as the person fulfills the mandate, the person fulfills the requirement, why not? So there can never be anything wrong with Kennedy Agyapong if he wants to jump in the political, you know, fray and then contest for elections. The choice of he winning or not winning is between he and the electorate out there. Kwaku Annan cannot and be faulted for breaking that news. I did my job as a journalist, assuming that I wasn't even on NET2 TV and elsewhere in another media house. I still would have done it the same as if he brought it to that media house for me to break the news. And that's what I did. So I don't know what people would sometimes want to blame me for some things that Kwaku, you should be held responsible for this, or why not? We can at this time share some of the responsibility, but not for the bad reasons of it. In all, it was for a good reason and a good cause for this country.
Yeah. For the sake of time, let me pick your brain on this. Now you're out of NET2. Have you had any recent conversations with Kennedy regarding his announcement date with all the shows that you have done since?
No.
No conversation has taken place?
No.
Yeah. Is it something that you want to reach out to him to straighten out a few things, or you're okay with because I saw your promos and you were talking about you're going to give us your side of the story, and you said it's a Magadon or a Magadon. How did you describe it? You say a Magadon about something. So are you like on the warpath with him, or you want the task?
Absolutely good. This is a very good question, and I need to give clarity. One, whatever that I'm out there doing is not a tug of war with Kennedy Agyapong, and I need to demystify this much clearer. Kwaku, you know me. I cannot do this, and I cannot fight Kennedy Agyapong. And so the Ghanaian out there who I may say does not understand my path is beginning reading the part that, hey, Kwaku is on a war path with Kennedy. No. You know, whatever that I'm doing out there on my TV station is for me to bring listeners, viewers to the station, period. Again, it is also for me to tell a very good story about myself. Kwaku, it takes years to build what in our local language, Rebecca say, edimpa, ene abrabopa, which goes in synonymous with integrity and credibility. Now, it's so easy to take just a second to drop down somebody's integrity, but it takes much longer period to build the integrity. I'm a young man, I'm trying to build future. Now, for what Kennedy did by way of going to break the news on the superhighway, when in actual sense, her wife was taking me through the process, assuming without admitting that even the process in which the wife was taking me through would eventually have ended in we passing our way or bid a farewell. Then Kwaku, I felt that would have been the best way to go. So why Kennedy would not allow that process to have go to its fullest, but decided that he will go on the superhighway to break the news there, it's a question he would have to answer one day of him. But having heard of what he had gone out there to do, I felt that, hey, I owe it to myself. The name out there is no Kojo, it's no Kwame, it's no Kwesi. It's about Kwaku Annan. Now, Kwaku, as we sit here today, if say CNN, Fox, ABC, BBC, Al Jazeera, so Kwaku, you know what? We need your service in Africa to do X, Y, Z for us. Kwaku, they won't come to Ghana to come and assess me and my CV and all of that. No, they will sit there, punch even the superhighway, zero down, assess me, who is this guy? And Kwaku, they will go there all to see, say, oh, this guy, however good he was, yet he was on one particular television station called the NET2 TV, and he was fired. One, I wasn't given a dismissal letter. The firing of me or at me was announced on social media. Hey, so what more? What else more? It is to his dismissal. The man just said that he has gone to insult some vice president. What is all about that? He could not provide or could not put further and better particulars to assert that claim. However, this international wire would then find out what is it that Kwaku Annan also put in his defense. No. All that they heard was that the Ghanaian was telling Kwaku Annan, Feme nyame, nyame woho, nyame beye, enkasa, kawanutum, nyame beye, and all of those things. And I'm saying to Ghanaians, hey, no, I ain't going to keep quiet. I will tell the story and defend my credibility. And Kwaku, whilst on radio and even I came on TV, I have said to the politicians in this country that I am one last journalist, that a politician will try to, take a nosedive with my integrity and my credibility. It's a no-go era. It doesn't matter whether you are the president, you are whatever, I'll go down with you. And we are on that path. So nobody gets it twisted that I am fighting Kennedy Agyapong. And I'm saying, hey, whilst you are telling me this, why don't you go and ask Kennedy Agyapong why he wants to destroy my credibility? Why he wants to destroy my integrity? By the way, could he have waited for the wife to break the news so that we all part company or part way and go our way, rather than he chose that path? What is it? What is in that path? What is there? Was he just going to do that for what he called political profiteering, some interest, or some favor, or for what? What is it about? So, I mean, why? This is a campaign platform. What is Kwaku Annan's name doing on that platform? Was that the appropriate forum to break that news? The answer is no. And people must watch Kennedy Agyapong right on his face and tell him, Mr. Agyapong, you got it wrong this time.
Yeah. Do you feel like you were pushed under the bus?
No.
You were sort of betrayed? No?
No. Yeah, betrayal, that's a crystal clear. This is a clear betrayal. You see, and Kwaku, as a student of intelligence, I will not say a politician is using me for anything. Other than that, then this responses coming wouldn't even materialize in the context we are speaking. Because a politician cannot use me for anything. I'll come after you. You see, And I have also said in my response that Mr. Kennedy Agyapong, given the circumstances, what is more synonymous with him, whenever he's talking, is zeroed down on a certain trepidation, all right, that menacingly of him to bring in a boisterous storm waiting on his own political household, and they need to toe a line. It's on the basis I say he should come and tell some real truth, because I've asked some 2, 3, 4 questions. That one, the action that he took, I'm asking, is the president of the republic, His Excellency Adodan Kwaku, aware of this? Does he know something? So I table my question. Will he confirm or deny?
Is he aware
that the tape record aware of what is going on? All this brouhaha. 2, I am also asking, the video recording upon which I stand accused, as he said, was given to him by the president when he was in the United States. Will he also confirm that whilst in the US, he received a call from the president, and the president asked him, what is it that these your guys at NET2 doing to the government? And then a question, did he respond to the president that, no, I have not viewed the show for some time, so I don't know what is going on? And then the president also said to him, no, we have a video here. And this video, this Kwaku has been attacking government, including mentioning some names, the vice president, the secretary to the cabinet, Nana Santi Bediatu, and all of that. And he said, no, he's not aware of that. And then they have to send him the video. And the video, apparently, my question is, did the video come to his phone, or the video actually went to his wife's phone? Because at that time, his WhatsApp probably may not be working. And so when he received that video, what did he do about it? Did he, as it were, try to confer with me and question me about all of this? He did not. Right the very day he landed in Ghana at the airport, then the decision was taken. And subsequently, a week thereafter, he went on the campaign platform. And then he released this missile. There are a lot of undercurrents. That for me, we've also laid hands on all this intelligence. So I have to say that I cannot fight the MPP, and I'm not fighting them, except that I'm now feeling that the MPP would not want journalists to question them much or criticize them much, which of course is quite synonymous with the political establishment in this country. But in all of this, Kwaku, KSM, it's 30 years into our democratization. The leadership under the Fourth Republic have all woefully failed and failed this country. Traditional leaders, institutions, religious organizations, who sometimes I say they are the last line of defense, Omega, have failed this country woefully. And journalists must tell the political establishment right on their face that you have failed. All of them. Okay. They have failed.
Okay. I get it. And so sorry that our time is catching up with us. But this is what some of your critics say, that who says it's not easy, as it were, to criticize the establishment and go on. Did you always know, but Kennedy was paying you so much that you ignored it? Or is something that you are now beginning to understand? That would be your final question, then we can wrap this up.
Anybody or people, because you see, KSM, you were my senior and you are still my senior in the days at Vibe FM when you were doing Enyamesumi and all of that. You know, I should tell this story today that I am not the first journalist to have taken on the Christian church or the body of Christ in Ghana. No. KSM, you started this. True or false? True. In this country. Yeah. Yes. And today, some of us have become disciples of it. We've done a lot. It's not because now I'm at NET2 TV and NET2 TV is revealing Kwaku Annan. We've done this over and over, and we have been critics of government, the NPP, NDC, ostensibly taking this country back and forth. So somebody should not get it twisted that, oh, this is the time now Kwaku has realized that, hey, the establishment aren't doing things right. We've been talking over and over. And I tell you what, the politician today is pretty fascinated in the priorities of what? Buying heavy-duty engine cars, of course, buying houses, wiring huge sums of money into foreign banks and whatnot. That's their priority. And the moment you nail on this, hey, we blew Omukro, they don't want to hear that. You see, And it is all about exploiting the human capacity. Go across the street, go to all across the principal street here in Accra, Ashanti region, Western region, what you see avalanche of human capacity. They are on our street 30 solid years. These politicians have exploited them. Every 4 years, come and vote for us. We would give you jobs. We will give you this. And they have failed them and throw and ada akoshisem sika dieni medie KSM. I'm sorry. This is what we see. And they are saying we should allow them to go free. It cannot be.
Kwaku, I think I have to arrange a part 2 to continue this. Because you seem to be firing on all cylinders. To quote,
my time is short.
But time has caught up with us. So I'll arrange to get you back, man. Some other time, I think I will. Because there are so many aspects and angles to this that we have even...
Because then we should have also touched the what brought about the exposition of the religious, the fake pastors, prophets, and bishops in this country. You know, because people thought that, it was all of an attempt to go after them and crush them. And so some of us were labeled as Antichrist, as you were labeled. But we are not. No. It's all, so in the name of trying to let them behave Christ-like.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Kwaku, thank you very much for the conversation. I'll be definitely we'll continue this discussion.
Thank you very much.
There's so many angles of this that I want us to get into, that I couldn't get into now because time couldn't permit. But we'll do soon, sooner than you think. Okay. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Welcome.
And